Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to start out with everybody's wins. So my win for this week is I've been getting organized, figuring out my time schedule with all my kids' homeschooling, and figuring out like, okay, I can like put them to work and then I can work it here. So I'm figuring out my new nook and crannies to everything to like still get into reaching out to people and really trying to follow up with people, go back into my Engage app and really try to go, okay, like these are people I sent things out to, how am I gonna reach out to them and moving forward. So I feel like I'm having to like start over without my whole schedule, and how I worked things and how I did things before is completely different from now. And I'm kind of liking it. It's like a new refresh and a new restart. So that's my win for this week. So Michelle, we'll go to you next. And then I didn't say, Marianne, if you're donating and you want to type something, but if you can't one-handed, totally fine. Okay, go ahead, Michelle.
My win is that I'm here.
Yay! That's always a good win, right? That's always positive. So cool. This ankle is awful. Sorry. Oh, shit. No, your ankle's not bad. We just see your beautiful masks. So, Mary. So, hey, Lee, you're driving too. Do you want to do a win or not?
Oh, yeah, I can unmute myself. My win this week is a lady that I enrolled as an ambassador a month ago. I've been working really closely with her. She's extremely obese, and it was so fun to get her text the other day to tell me that she was able to get through the entire first verse of this Polynesian. She has a Polynesian dance class that she runs, but usually she's like, usually I have to sit down the entire time. And so to get that message, she's like, I actually danced the whole first verse. Like, it just makes me so exciting. And she loves her products. They actually help her feel better. And she's doing all the things she needs to with her eating and you know, where she is at in this journey. Yeah, she's going to lose weight fast at first because of her size. But she's like, Plexus has just helped me feel so much better. And that's what's so exciting about it, is that, you know, it's not necessarily about the Plexus isn't about the weight loss for her. It's that it's making her feel better. So anyway, that was my win.
I love that. Like, I love when you get those texts that are like, I made it to the mailbox today. Like, I have a lady that was like, I went to the grocery store and came home, and she goes, I was walking my groceries inside, and it shocked me because I had never been able to grocery shop without resting. And she's like, I didn't even realize I didn't rest. Like, I grocery shopped, came home, took my groceries in. Like, those are the ones that you're like, oh my gosh. Like, for some people who are so bad, those little tiny things are like huge memento things. So I love that. To feel better is like, I think that's most people. They're like, once they get on products, it's like, it's not about weight anymore. It's all about just, I feel good. And when I feel good, then I choose healthy options. Yeah. So, okay, Charlene, do you want to give us your win for the week?
My win for the week is I've had a friend that we don't always see eye to eye on things, you know. I say a friend, and she has signed up to be a customer, and I talked with her the other day, and I said, you know, you'll get a better deal if you sign up as an ambassador. And she goes, yeah, but I don't want to sell. And I said, you know, you don't have to sell, you know, it's no big deal. And she said, oh, okay, I'll sign up. Well, guess what? She has talked to like 4 people.
Yay.
So she hasn't signed up yet, but I, you know, she's like, I sent some samples to so-and-so, another person I know, and she's excited. And then this other person, she wanted samples. And I said, well, let me run her some samples over. So I ran her some samples over, and then she called and she said, okay, there's a gal on her way to Idaho. As soon as she gets settled in Idaho, I'm going to call her and we're going to get her going. And I'm like, so yeah, so it just has been, and it's funny because when I asked her about it, she says, you know, you must have been impressed to call me because I was feeling like her A1C, whatever it is, has gone from like 9 or really, really extremely high down to normal. And her
Oh,
doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And that it was the pink drink. And that was just with her on pink drink. She hadn't started anything else.
that's
So,
awesome.
so
Now,
yeah,
did she get the Plexus Engage app to get her 3 free samples?
she hasn't signed up yet. So she will.
Oh, okay. So she's
So
still a customer, and then
still
when
a
she sign
customer.
her, okay.
She's only been a customer like 10 days.
Oh, you want to wait till her next order and then sign
Yes.
her up.
So we're
Yeah.
gonna
And then you could tell her with the sign up, you get 3 more free samples if she's sending
Mhm.
them to people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, yeah.
cool. Isn't that great when you have those that they're like, no. And then you're like, no worries. And then they're like, so I got this other person that I told about and I told about.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then her son has Crohn's, and she says, and I said, you know, what you're taking now, because she's on the triplex, and I said, what you're taking now will help your son with his Crohn's. She goes, all right, we got to get him on it. So I'm like,
Yay, that's awesome. Okay, Lee, do you have any like announcements for the beginning of the call? Like anything going on?
Just one thing to let people know, if they haven't seen that in Ohana Plexus, it started yesterday, the Back to Basics training. And really, that's good for everyone, no matter how many years you've been in it. Like Rachel was saying, she's just trying to figure out her schedule now. Like Back to Basics training is really important because it's really the basics that grow your business. And so it can really be used as a nice accountability for the next 10 days to do that. So if you go to Ohana, you'll see the post, and then there's a link that you need to click because it takes you to the Facebook page, which then you invite yourself to be in it. And then you can do the next 9 days because it started yesterday. But just, to give you back on track, and maybe there's little things that you've forgotten to do, or, maybe you just need that accountability and you need that help with, they send out sample messages like, okay, today send out these 10 sample messages. And it's kind of nice to have it right there that you can copy it and then tweak it a little bit, but it just doesn't take as much of your own brain power if you just follow along and do that. So that was really the biggest thing, was the Back to Basics.
Perfect. I know, I love that. Michelle tagged me and she's like, let's do this. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we got in. Michelle, did you get in? You got approved? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And honestly, even after a couple of years, sometimes you get in that, like, you sit down and you're like, those are the kinds of things, the Back to the Basics, that just get you going again, get you fresh ideas for new messages. Like she said, like sometimes you're just like, oh yeah. And then you might do 1 or 2 where you tweak it. And then you're like, okay, I'm back on my roll again. I got it. And then you're like messaging, so I love that. And there's never at a point in your business that you're like, I don't need those things anymore. Like it's always good. It's always good, refreshing. And if you have new people and you put them in, they'll see you in there and they see you doing it, and then you're being an example for your team, and then they'll do it too. But if they get into all the new stuff and then they never ever see you, they'll be like, where's my people? Like, where's the people on my team? So it is good to be in there with it, especially if you have new people. And Charlene, it is good sometimes if those people, like, you kind of gauge them, that your friend, she's kind of sharing, that at some point you get to a point that you're like, hey, we have this training, like, do you want some sample messages? Just send out to people. Then they might be ready, or they might not, and later on, then you can add those new people in too. I think we still have free CBD, over 150 PV. We still have the $9.99 enrollment. We still have the 3 free credits with enrollment. We still have, isn't there incentive money, I think, or something?
Yeah, there's still the incentive money in Roll 3.
So all of those things are kind of like ongoing until they kind of stop. Like it's kind of like it's ongoing until you stop. And so sometimes I forget about the CBD oil. So you have to go back into your emails and like search for the emails. And usually you can go back a month or 2 if you've forgotten about the emails to like find them, to go, okay, I still want that CBD oil. Cause I mean, it's $14.95, but eventually when they come out, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, I got to stock up so that when they do come out full price, then I've got a good stock that I don't have to pay full price. So it's still an amazing deal. Okay. So what I wanted to talk to you guys today, we have all this like Back to Basics, all this stuff. We're on the best team that's got all of the great stuff of everything. We've got diamonds on our team. We've got training. We have amazing leaders. We've got so many jewels and everything in here that like, we've got what it takes. We have systems in place. We got the momentum movement, whatever you want, like it's there for you. But sometimes we forget about relationship marketing and how sometimes it's just not all about the business. And so I wanted to just talk a little bit about relationship marketing, because like sometimes I think of network marketing and it's like, oh, we got to network and we got to meet new people and this and that. But when it comes down to it, it's relationship marketing, and it's that people matter and that we should always do things without expecting anything in return. And that if you reach out to people, it's that you care about them and you love them, and you want to help them, whether or not you get anything, whether or not they sign up, whether or not you get anything in return. And so I've been trying to practice this more lately. And I was going to grab, I have a book in my room. It's called Promptings. Can't even say the word. And it's by a guy named Cody Bateman. And he talks about in there, like do things when you feel inspired. Like Charlene, like just like your customer said, you must have been inspired to reach out to me. Like my A1C, it was high and I was just kind of thinking like I needed to do something. Like how many times do you think during the day I should message this person, I should say hi to this person, I should just check in on this person? Not even having to do with Plexus, like a name comes to your mind. And sometimes I have the name of like, I need to reach out to this person for Plexus, but a lot of times it's just, I need to check in on this person. I need to like reach out and say hi. And so I've been trying to be really good about like messaging, calling, sending cards. And I've been doing a little more sending cards because nobody gets cards anymore. Like, I don't know if you're like that, like Christmas, like I used to have, like we send out Christmas cards and then we'd get cards, and it used to fill up like I always put them on like my front door, and then it'd be the windows, and then I have like glass doors next to my front door for my salon, and it would fill up all my glass doors on my salon and stuff. And for years it would just keep going and going, and like every year it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and like nobody sends physical stuff in the mail anymore. And that's why I love like the samples with the Engage app. You're sending a sample and it comes with like great stuff. Like it's not like, I'm bad, I would just put 2 sticks, a little handwritten note that's like, hey, here's your sample, da da da. But like I love that like it comes professional now, you know, and they're getting something in the mail. And like my sister-in-law, her mother just passed away this week, and so she has a little boy and a little girl that are like 6 and 3 and like are having the hardest time. So I sent him a little thing in the mail and it was like, oh, your grandma loves you, and every time you see this you'll know your grandma loves you. And I sent him like a little stuffed animal and stuff. I could have driven it to their house, but I'm like, how exciting is it that they'll like get something in the mail that like, oh, they got a present, and then it means more because then they open it up and stuff. So I wanted to encourage you guys to like really concentrate on like building relationships, because I really believe that like if you build the relationships when they're ready for the products, they'll come find you, because they will have watched you and you're being consistent. I mean, consistency is always the #1 thing. You're being consistent, you're reaching out, you're posting, so that they still know you're the Plexus parent. It doesn't mean you disappear and then hope they come find you. You know, you're still there, you're still available. But I've had, I think 2 or 3 people in the past month or 2 that have just messaged me out of the blue. Hey, I think I'm ready for this Plexus, or I want to try that pink drink. Like my brother, no, he's actually my nephew, I guess. I was gonna say my brother-in-law, but my nephew like messaged me and he's like, so have you heard about this pink drink that's supposed to help people lose weight? And I'm like, where have I been? I've been selling it for 5 years, like, you know? And I'm like, I don't know if that was his way of like, hey, I'm interested, or is this the same thing you're selling, you know, kind of a thing. And him and his wife, like, they're newlyweds. They just barely had their first baby. They've been married, well, they're not new, they've been married like 5 or 6 years and stuff. And like, I know they're on anxiety medicine. I know they like, he is always on some diet that he can't eat whatever we're eating at family dinner because he's on some weird diet that he's limited, or his wife's restricted him or whatever, or he can choose 1 meal a day or something, you know. And I'm like, yeah, you'll love it. Like, I didn't go, where have you been? I've been here trying to tell you about this for years, you know, because I've reached out to them before and they're just like, you know. But then all of a sudden he like heard it from somebody else, you know, and then he's like, oh, that might be the same thing Rachel's doing, you know, and then he reached out. Like, I believe in like karma. Like, what you put out is what you get back. If you put out negative, like negative people who just always put out negative things, they get negative things back. If you put out good, you get good things back. Like, I have this friend of mine, and Michelle, you probably know her, Patty Sefker. She has like 13 kids. And like, she is one of those people that just puts out, like, she's such a good example to me. And she just gives everything back. Like they moved houses, and they moved like just like 10 houses down the street kind of a thing. So they like just had a garage sale, and they were just like, we don't need the money. We just want to sell everything. And so like their kids, they were trying to teach their kids about business and like how to just, you know, whatever people can pay, like, you know, like whatever. And they had set prices and stuff like that, but they're like, whatever. And this guy came up and he was like, how about $20 for this item? You know, and the little 10-year-old's like, how about 10 and it's yours? You know, like she was, you know, and the mom's like, well, we're not giving it, you know, if they're willing to pay 20, you know. And it was just funny because she was just like, okay, sell it to them for 10, you know. And they had this dryer they sold to the neighbor for like $25. And then the neighbor's like, I was carrying it and like it was shaken. So I tipped it and like all this change started dumping out. And like, I made like $30 in change, you know. And he's like, I feel like I should give it back to you. And she's like, no, you bought it, change and all. She's like, that was the teenager's dryer and they lost their money, you know, or whatever. And then she moves into her house and she's like, we needed a lawnmower. So we went out to a garage sale, and she's like, somebody had this really expensive riding lawnmower and they were like, I don't know, $50. Like, she's like, we got this huge, nice, and I'm like, that's the true, like, she just blesses other people, and in return, what she needed just comes back to her. And so she's my example of like, I gotta be like Patty, like, you know, you just gotta bless people's lives. And like the other day, Sean was driving Hannah's car and it broke down on the side of the road. And so I was following him because it was like on the on-ramp of the freeway and we had to get it off. I don't know if I've told the story before, but like I was following him on the freeway and there's construction and we were just on the edge, and right where the barriers make it so there's no side for like a half a mile and then it opened back up, like the car like died literally in the lane on the freeway. And I had my flashers on behind him in another car, and I'm like, I can't get out and help him because somebody's going to hit me and then I'm going to smash into him. And this couple pulls over and the guy's like running back. He's like, you're going to die on the freeway. I got to help you like push this car. So him and his wife like helped us push the car. And then they're like, my daughter's car broke down the other day and I had to buy this tow strap and I was going to take it back. My wife's like, no, we're going to need that soon. So you better just leave it in your car. And then here you are, and you need a tow strap and I need to tow you. And like, it was just like a miracle that I had this tow strap. And so they helped us not only just tow it off to the side, but like off the freeway to the next exit to like this parking lot so that we were like in a safe place, because they just knew for sure we were going to die on the freeway, which Sean probably would have had to push the car by himself while I stayed behind him, you know. So we were so grateful. But when we were done, I was like, you know what? I go, what is your name and your address? Because I want to send you a thank you card. And like, they were pretty rough on the edges kind of folks and stuff. And when she told me her age and she was younger than me, like I almost died because she literally looked 20 years older. And I was like, these are just good people that probably have had a pretty rough life and stuff like that. And like, but they still cared enough to like help somebody, you know. And nowadays so many people just drive by and don't help and stuff like that. And they stopped and helped. And so I like did that. I'm like, I'm going to build a relationship. I'm going to send him a thank you card. And I didn't have anything Plexus in there, nothing. I'm just like, you know, like, great. If they want, you know, to become friends, they could usually find people on Facebook or whatever. And so it's not even like sending things out so that you'll get business in return. I think you just get in the habit of doing those kinds of things and talking to people and learning how to like visit with people at the store and visit with people at the park, that it becomes so natural to you that that's how you attract people. And then people will say, I want to be like them. What do they do? I want to be on their team. Like whatever they're a part of, I want to be a part of it too. And that's your attraction marketing, is that you've done the relationship, and then the other stuff comes because of it. So that was just kind of like, I was just like, oh, like I've been kind of practicing that lately, and I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it's a great reminder just to like, just love people and care about them. And I think we all know that like along the way, some people stop Plexus, do other things, move on, don't take it, and they're still our friends. We still love them. It doesn't matter. And sometimes they come back after a year or two, you know, when they're ready, you know, and sometimes they don't, and that's okay. And I think I can count on my hand several friends that I'm now friends with because of Plexus, but they don't use Plexus, if that makes sense. Like I met them because I am out building relationships and things like that. So does anyone have any comments on that?
It just reminded me, I watched a video yesterday that was sent to me from my son's school, because they're going to be starting this thing called the Kindness Challenge. And there's actually scientific proof that when you are kind to people with no expectations, that's the key, is you can't have expectations. When you are kind to people just out of the pure desire of being kind to people, it actually increases your feel-good hormones. It physically does that to you, but not only does it do it to you, it does it to the person that you are kind to. But what's even crazier too about that is that studies that have been shown also show that people that witness kindness being happening, and again, it goes back to kindness without any expectations. You just do it because you know it's the right thing to do, and you feel for that person, or you want to be there for that person. The people that observe it also get that same uplift in their feel-good hormones, and it actually encourages them to then go out and do something kind. So it's kind of that same thing. I mean, developing a relationship is really just being kind. Is realizing that we are all humans in this journey of human life, and it's kind of a cool thing. But it did really stress, right? You can't have expectations, so you can't have that idea of like, well, I'm going to build this relationship and then tell them about Plexus. Because if you go into it with that idea, guess what? It's not going to go anywhere. It won't go anywhere. But if you go into it with the idea of, I just love to get to know people, and I get to know their story, because honestly, I just truly I love to know people and to learn their story and see what their journey in life has been like. Then I think you have a total different outcome when it comes to the relationship, and when it comes to introducing the business to someone. It's a completely different outcome. So anyway, just wanted to share that kindness.
Anyone else?
I have a question for Lee. Did you do that epoxy on your countertops, and how did it turn out? You're muted. Lee, you're muted.
Lee, you're muted.
Oh, yes, I did. And of course, I'm like not having it all together yet, that I'm like, I can't put it on social media yet. But here, can I flip my camera? Can I do that on Zoom?
Yeah.
How?
Through your phone, if it's on your phone.
Yeah, there's no like flip thing. Oh, wait. Here it is. I found it. So we did my desk. This is my desk.
Oh yeah, that looks really nice.
Yeah. I actually like my desk better but I do like the laundry room. But then here's the laundry room. Sorry, this has nothing to do with Plexus, you guys, but this is a very inexpensive way to redo your laundry room. So there's the laundry room.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah. And then we painted the cabinets.
Yeah.
And we painted our shelves. So yeah, when it looks all cute.
What was the color underneath it?
Oh, it was a black laminate countertop.
So then you put the epoxy, like, did you paint the white and then drizzle the gray?
No, so epoxy is clear, yeah. So so we painted the laminate white.
Okay. So you just use regular paint and then epoxied over it.
No, that's
yeah,
a special.
and then the gray was spray paint.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I dabbed it, or I sprayed a bunch on a plate, and then I had a little spongy thing and dabbed it to create all of
I think
that.
my daughter used kind of like the canned air to spread it out too. You know, the
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
And then she had glitter. She did some glitter in hers. And did you do?
Yeah. So my one on my desk, we did it, and I just did a bunch of this one on my desk, different colors of spray paint, and then I had gloves on, and I just like smeared it around. So that's that. Anyway, yes. So it did. We learned a lot from the first time to the second time. So
Yep.
I'll eventually put a picture up. I need to get my laundry room all put together because I can show the before. Because the before, my laundry room cabinets were this color,
Ah,
Oh.
and then we painted them. Yeah. So anyway,
that's awesome.
not Plexus related,
Doesn't
but
matter.
I'll tell you
It's all
that
good.
transformation costs maybe $200.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for the epoxy, the paint, and the
Yeah.
handles.
Yeah.
That's it.
Very awesome.
Very good.
Okay, anyone have any other comments? I think we're good to go. So you can use your extra time today to go check in with Back to Basics and
Yep.
get some stuff done. So perfect.